Hello and welcome to a very different kind of vlog. We are going to go into more detail across 2 days because I am by myself all weekend and I've just decided I'm going to attempt to read 4 books over the weekend and I'm taking you with me. I will be honest, I will double check whether this is going to be spoilery, but I'm just assuming it's going to be a bit spoilery. Let's sit down properly and let me tell you what I plan on reading. It does shake a bit, so sorry. You're currently propped up on 3 sofa cushions, but I should film here more often. This is such a better setup than the one that I've got, and I get to sit down and have a cute little blanket on. This blanket actually has my likeness on it. It's me reading, and it has my name on it. My parents got this for me, and it's the fluffiest blanket to ever exist. Love it. So this weekend, I should have started this a lot earlier. It's like 12. I haven't eaten a single thing. I've had a smoothie. Health kick. But I wanted to talk to you about the books that I plan on prioritizing on this lovely reading vlog weekend. I'm not working today, obviously. Not working tomorrow. Harry's not here, so I don't have to hang out with anyone. My friend and I just cancelled our brunch appointment because she's hungover and I'm exhausted. And we were like, let's just do this another time. So right now, everything has aligned for this weekend reading vlog. And I've done vlogs. I do very like short, snappy little day in the life vlogs. I've never done a reading vlog. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping for this to be quite in quite big detail. I won't do spoilers for books that I own that aren't out yet, but I will do spoilers for things that have been out for some time. I think I may also backtrack on this and this may get cut out. I am not sure. But I did want to talk through with you the books that I plan on reading this weekend. My weekly vlog is out already by the time I upload this. So if you have watched that, you already know what I plan on reading. But if you've just clicked this video, you don't know what I'm reading. So I have 2 books for Saturday and 2 books for Sunday, and then 1 book kind of for the weekend. But let's start off with the books that we are going to prioritize today, which is Saturday at 12 p.m. So I've definitely not done a very good job at this. So starting off first, we have Rune by Carlos Sanchez. If you watched my manga organization video, which I did realize I spelled organization wrong in the thumbnail. It's giving rookie, it's giving she doesn't know what she's doing and she can't proofread. Ironic for what I'm doing. Rune is a middle grade fantasy graphic novel. First of all, Flying Eye Books is a publisher that I'm very fortunate enough that they do send me quite a lot of their stuff to rate and review. And 9 times out of 10, I love everything that they bring out. I don't know what it is. Whoever is in charge of acquisitions at Flying Eye Books, incredible. And Rune is hopefully going to be the exact same. This is currently shortlisted for the Waterstones Children's Prize, specifically for that 9 to 13 category. I, first of all, love that we're seeing graphic novels and manga and all of this getting the hype that it deserves at the moment, especially graphic novels for children. Loving this. It 100% deserves the hype. I will not sit here and entertain any conversations about graphic novels and manga not being reading. Just stop there. I'm not even going to entertain it. I won't even discuss it because I 100% disagree with you. Graphic novels and manga are 100% important, relevant to children's development. They are valid forms of media, valid forms of literature to tell a story. Specifically, one of the things I wanted to highlight before I go in and read this is, okay, it's either Cheery or Die, hold on. But they are hard of hearing or deaf. It hasn't established specifically what, but they use sign language. They use sign language and the speech bubbles points, the tail of the speech bubble points to their hands because obviously they're speaking with their hands, which I think is absolutely incredible. I'm excited to see some hard of hearing deaf representation in this graphic novel. It's incredibly beautiful. I mean, look at that design. I'm very excited. So this is what I plan on reading today. Obviously easily done. It's a graphic novel. It's not going to take me that long. That's why I felt confident saying that I was going to read 4 books. Continuing on for Saturday as well, we have How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin, which I have spoken about already on weekly vlogs and things. This is the sequel to How to Solve Your Own Murder, which I made a big song and dance about how I loved How to Solve Your Own Murder. Top 5 murder mystery of the year and top 20 books of the year for 2024. And I was so worried about how this was going to work as a sequel because How to Solve Your Own Murder is very much, to me at the time, a very singular story. It follows the events of a summer in like 1963, and then the events in the modern day and how they link, and how people's actions and consequences that happened in the summer, how that reverberates into the future. And it felt very like, this is such a poignant thing in a bunch of people's lives, there's no way that this can be repeated. So when I was going into this, I was like, am I going to sit here and go, this feels like a sequel cash grab? I've been known to read books and I've gone, there was no need for a sequel. And that's what I was worried about in this. I am at this point 152 pages in. I 100% go against everything that I said. What made me have faith in this sequel more than anything else is the crux of what this mystery is based on was 100% discussed and talked about in the first book. So it doesn't feel like, okay, well, that mystery's solved. Let's just pick some random characters in the village we don't really know too much about, and then their summer in 1963. No. This follows the same characters from the last book. It follows events that happened and were talked about in the last book. It is just 100% a, like, obviously a sequel and follow-up, but it feels intentional. It doesn't feel like it was grabbed out of nowhere. So I'm just loving this so much. So this is the goal. I want to finish this today. Easily can be done. I'm obsessed with it. I've got this amount left. But those are the two books that I want to prioritize for Saturday. Moving on to Sunday, we have Hunchback. This is by, I believe the pronunciation of this person's name is Sao Ichikawa. This is called Hunchback. It recently won, what did it say? It was written by the first physically disabled author to win Japan's most prestigious literary award, and acclaimed instantly as one of the most important Japanese novels of the 21st century. So our main character has a congenital muscle disorder, and she likes to write outrageous erotic stories online, and then finds out that her new carer has read all of those. And it's kind of their discussions, their dynamics. I think it's all about like sex and desire and eroticism with people with disabilities, written by somebody who has a disability. For Sunday, the other book is Collide by Bal Cabra. I don't read many romance books. I'm very actually picky about the romance books I read. Recently, romance books that I've read are Tessa Bailey. I read Annie Crown's Night Shift, which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to when I read it, and some other books. But I have been trying, actually. I really want to branch out and read more romance. So we have Collide, which is a sports romance. It's about this girl here is doing a research paper and she's learning to be a sports psychologist, and she teams up with the captain of the hockey team to work on a research paper together, and then they fall in love. Obviously, it's a romance book. But the last romance book I read, which was obviously last month, I read Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey, and I read that in 6 hours. So I low-key have hope I could read this in a day. But yeah, those are the books I've been reading. Oh, and also, if I then get to the point where I'm like, I kind of want to switch something up because I've read so much of one thing, I do want to get to potentially page 200 of The Story of a Murder, which is a true crime, historical, non-fiction book about specifically this lady here. Her name is Bella Moore. She's got loads of different names, but her stage name was Bella Moore. And she was killed by her husband, the notorious Dr. Crippen, who also killed his first wife. And it's basically a really in-depth and intricate look into more or less every single important person in that entire case, trial, everything. It's the first time I've actually read a book, put it down, picked it back up, and then wanted to continue. And I think I can do that more with non-fiction than fiction. That's a goal. That's not the main focus of today, but definitely something that's, it'd be good to do. So just for context, I'm on page now 154, and I will come back and report to you once I get to page 200 on how I'm feeling about this book and any of the revelations that come with it. Okay, so I know I said I would come back when I got to page 200. I'm now on 162. So I've only read 10 pages or so since I last checked in. But what I think is so good about this book is because you're following two points of view. You're following Annie in the modern day and then her aunt in the past. It's really interesting because you get so much extra information about the people in the present from Frances' diaries. There's a connection that has just formed between these two characters where you're like, oh my God, Annie doesn't know this, and Annie needs to know that these two are connected, and it makes such an exciting reading experience because you have this information before the protagonist does, and you're just then on the edge of your seat because you're like, well, Annie needs to know this because this is an important clue for her mystery. Anyway, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, I just love this series so much. Sorry, I am back again. I know I said I wouldn't do this. There is kind of a love triangle going on in this book. And before you go, love triangle is boring, boo, boo, boo. Shut up. This is done really, really interestingly. So we know from book one, and also again in this book, that Annie's great aunt Frances marries this man called Ford, who is the heir to the Gravesdown estate. He is like a bajillionaire. He's incredibly rich. He has loads of land. In the first book, she's like sort of courting him. It's a bit weird, and that continues on in book two. But in book two, she spends more time with a guy called Archie, and there is this obvious chemistry between the two of them that kind of throws her for a loop. And there's a whole thing between her, and her dynamic with Ford is not one of this like super easy thing to understand. So you can understand why there's now suddenly a love triangle in book two. It makes sense. But what I think is so interesting, again, when you read this, and which is what I really like about this dual time, like, perspectives that you've got going on, is not only will you find out stuff in the past where you're like, oh my God, this affects Annie in her case. There's also things where you're watching her interact with this Archie guy, Frances interacting with this Archie guy, sorry, knowing that she still ends up married to Ford. And it does have you think to yourself, oh my God, like what's going on between this like love triangle that's going on? Because we know for a fact that Frances ends up with Ford, but what does that mean for her and Archie? And the love triangle is like super convincing. And what really works for me is while you have this element of like, you know who she ends up with in the end, there is still plausibility of why she would like both of them. And especially like then what happens for her to choose Ford, because she's not sure on either one of them. It's not like sometimes in love triangles where you're like, oh, it's so obvious who she's going to end up with. The writer is like not hiding bias. In this one, it's quite interesting because you can see her like inching towards one person but knowing that she ends up with the other. I don't know, it's just really interesting, and I kept forgetting that there was a really good kind of romance, because I kind of like the burgeoning courting in the first book, and I'm also liking this love triangle in the second book. Page 190, I'm about to film my reaction because it looks like we're about to end up on some juicy reaction. We've already got another dead body, so hopefully we will get a good reaction for this one. I was shocked. Also, I didn't fucking like her, so sorry. She's probably really important to the plot, but she pissed me off. Oh, shit. This is juicy as fuck. I think this might be even juicier and more scandalous and crazy than the first book. I'm glad I turned this camera on. I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be a little bit underwhelming. I'm glad you got my reaction. Kristen Perrin, your brain. I have actually not eaten today, and that's not something I promote and not something that I think is right. So I need to go and get some food and eat it because there's nothing in the house. So I've now got to take my little booty down to the local store, which I secretly love. I love a trip.
This version isn't really about the monster. It's about the woman who both...
Yeah, I'm not watching a thing about Nosferatu while I'm eating, because that is vile. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. Lunch is eaten. You can hear this beautiful music I've got playing. It's time to crack on with How to Seal Your Own Fate. The time now is can you see that? I don't know the end. The time is 2:45. I'm going to try and finish this now. That is the goal. I'm on page 205. I honestly don't know how it's going to end. No, I'm thinking about this now. I actually don't know how it's going to end, because the reason I don't know how this is going to end is because the pool of characters that we have are a lot smaller this time around than I feel like they were in book one. And I feel like the important characters that we meet, there's only a small amount. You've got... Oh, I actually won't say because for spoilers. I'm very confused. So I'm 217 pages into this now. And I need to understand, and I know I will, but I desperately need to understand how Frances chose Ford. I won't go into too much detail, because when I say to you, it's kind of clear how this love triangle should have ended, that's not coming from a place of, oh, the author's being super biased. That is, the plot requires this, like, way of the love triangle working, but it makes it so much more devastating when you're reading it and you go, but she ends up with Ford. What happens that causes her to end up with this other man in the triangle? Because you're watching their interactions and you're like, oh, are they more suited? But they can't be, because it ended with Ford. So now I've got all these theories. Was it her choosing Ford for love, or was it for for protection or for safety, or did she just decide, oh my God, yes, I've been in love with Ford this entire time. Like, I need to know, but it makes such a great reading experience, because you're watching all of this happen and you're kind of filled with like sadness and a little bit of heartbreak, because you're like, but you end up married to someone else. I don't get it, but I'm loving it. And I didn't realize when I was reading this murder mystery book that the romance would be grabbing me as much as it has. Okay, 220 pages in, and I think I have my theory of what's happened. I think I know exactly what's happened in the past. Not so much the murder of Kearney Lane, who's a character that gets murdered at the very beginning of the book that sparks all of this stuff, but we do follow Annie's great aunt Frances's diary like we do in the first book, and I think the mystery that's involved in the diaries in the past, I'm pretty sure I figured that out. I do not think I figured out the modern day murder mystery though. Oh no, actually. Yeah, the love triangle, knowing that she ends with one of the people, Okay, so one of my theories was correct. But there's still a couple of things that are missing, and yeah, I'm very intrigued, so I think we're gonna get up to another juicy bit that I want to see if I can get my interaction with. Oh, okay. Another update. It is currently 4:31. I think the last time I did check in, it was 2:45. So it's been about an hour and 45 minutes. I am currently on page 280. That's all I've got left. There were some theories that I got right, pure just great guesswork, and other theories got right, which was just purely process of elimination, which I wouldn't say those ones I've loved so much. I need a little bit more of Frances's diary to cover. Basically, I want to see her make the decision to be with Ford. I think we're probably going to get a third book, and that isn't going to happen. But overall, I think the first book, the intricacies of the first book's mystery is better than this one. I just loved the feeling of being back in this world, of being back with these characters. I think Kristen Perrin weaves a really, really good story. There's still a little bit left for me to be shocked. I would say overall, I think I do prefer the ending of book one so far. We've still got a bit to go. But yeah, I think my money's on, I do prefer the ending of book one, but I just as much in book one enjoyed the build up for this one, if that makes sense. And what the choice is for the ending of book two isn't bad. Like, it's not bad at all. I'm not thoroughly disappointed. Some of it made a lot of sense. I don't know. I think because I've been hyping up so much in my brain, when it happened, it was everything that I kind of guessed or theorized. And now I'm like, oh, you know? Book one is done. I finished it. It was really good. I ultimately decided to give it a 4.5 stars, even though I did think this was going to be a 5-star read to the very end. I do think that, one, the different threads of the mystery kind of got a bit confusing, and I don't think the impact of the chosen parties hit as hard as maybe I was hoping it would. But that's only a half star that's come off. I thought the writing was amazing. I loved Annie more, actually, as a character this time around. I felt that Frances, her diaries were just as amazing as they were in book one. Annie, I just warmed to her so much more in book two than I did in book one. I felt that the mystery was really entertaining and really engaging. I liked how the sequel connected to book one, but was also able to stand by itself. There were so many great things. The only reason it didn't get the 5 stars is because I think some of the choices at the end we should have seen one or two more of these characters earlier in the book, and that is the only thing that I think could have happened a bit more. But overall, an amazing book, really, really good. Can't wait to log it on Goodreads and my book journal and all that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of break, tidy a couple of things in my house, and then we will be back for Rune. And we are back to do the second book of Saturday. I am really excited to read this. Rune by Carlos Sanchez. I have got, let me play it, Zelda music playing to add to the ambiance of this book. I'm very excited to read this. It's been high on my list for ages. Let's jump in. So I've already spoken about the deaf representation in this book, but just read. I don't know that you can see this because I've got the screen up in a weird way. But this is the statement they put up in the very beginning of the book, saying it's a mixture of BSL and also a language that he has made up for his book, but it has been done with sensitivity readers and consultants, which is always really nice to know that that thought has gone in there. I just want to highlight, look at this. That artwork is incredible. It's so beautiful. It's so colourful, but also with the very specific colour palette, which I love. The attention to detail, the attention to detail in this is absolutely insane. I love graphic novels so much. So this book 100% feels like if Over the Garden Wall and Adventure Time had a baby. It has the eerie creepiness and art style kind of Over the Garden Wall, but with the color palette and the magicalness and the absurdity of Adventure Time. It's so good. If you're a fan of those two shows, I would check out this series. So I've just finished Rune. It was so good. It was worth all the hype. It's a 5-star read from me. The artwork was incredible. The characters are great fun. I love the deaf representation. There's a little bit of queer representation here, which is really, really nice as well. The colour palette was great. The world was amazing. It's part of a series, so I can't wait for the second one to come out. I fucking love graphic novels. So I wanted to quickly run through with you my bullet journal that I just have created as of this year. So this is where I fill in all of the books that I've read. Obviously, colour coordinated. Then, as is the fucking idiot that I am, I counted the squares wrong. So the 75 is just up here. But this is where I do my sequels challenge, which How to See Your Own Fate will be filled in on here. 25 books in 2025. I have only done one. That was The Foxhole Court, which I DNF'd. My next one, which I plan on reading next month, because I don't have time to read anything because I just chose the most chunkiest books ever. I am going to read number 13 next month, Murder in My Family, because it's an epistolary, so I think it'll be quite a quick read, so I can put my energy into other things, but also feel like I've done one of my 25 and 25. This is for my physical TBR. Then we just have a list of all the books that I've read. And then look at this bad boy. So this is all of the pages I've done so far. I think they're all really cute. I love them. Berserk, I've been waiting on these stickers. I'm hoping that these stickers will somehow have something in there that works for Berserk, but maybe Berserk will just forever be blank. And then I'll just fill it out many moons to go. But look, I just love them so much. I think they're so good. So this is where I'm up to now. I didn't actually finish my review for Fair Play, so I'll probably have to add that. But how cute is that? So I'm going to fill that in for Rune and How to See Your Own Fate. I just really wanted to add, if you are somebody that makes YouTube music playlists, and I'm not talking here's a K-pop playlist. I'm talking instrumental, video game music, classic music, anything like that. If you create one of those and it has a super weird niche title, like fishing when it's slightly raining but it's the summer at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, I am going to click on that and I'm going to listen to it while I read. This is the one that I'm listening to at the moment. Hold on. This is called Fishing Vibes. Relaxing video game music calms your mind to study. Perfect. I am so excited. We are on day 2. Day 1 was super successful. Day 2, I know for a fact that I am going to read... Let me grab it. That I am going to read Hunchback. I know that this is going to be done. It's a super short book. I've already said that the font's massive and the margins are crazy big. So I know I'm going to finish that. Whether I finish Collide by Balcabra, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. But when I finish Collide, that will be a feat unto itself. It is currently, what's the time? It is currently 10:08. We shall, 10:09 actually. Anyway, I'm really excited to see how this goes, how we're doing. I've got a really nice, can you see it, playlist going. I'm just excited for what day 2 has to offer. And 25 pages in. This book is 97 pages. I'm 25 pages in, so a quarter of the way through. It's the the first chapter is with the main character. She's written an article about what it's like to go to a swingers club, and she does not hold back on what goes on in a swingers club. And I mean, what a first chapter to get you into a book, you know? From the first 25 pages, it's a very visual and honest take of what someone who has a congenital muscle disorder is going through. And I know that each different person has different experiences, so this author is coming from her own experience, but it's so incredibly visual, which I think is so important, because I think you have to understand the complexities of the characters' disability, and the only way to do that is by being incredibly visual. She talks about how she has to sit in one specific position in order to not feel the pain of her neck, because she has an S curvature in her spine, hence the title Hunchback. So she talks about having to sit in a certain way to not feel the pressure on her neck, but then that only lasts so long. So she then has to sit in another position to relieve her lower back, which also lasts so long. She talks about using a ventilator. She talks about other people. She lives in a I think it's like kind of like a care home. So she lives with other people who also have physical disabilities that need care, and it's all about the self-deprecating jokes that they make. So it's a very just like true look at what it's like, which I think is very, very necessary. It's something that I have only kind of known a little bit about, so it's very interesting. I think she's really funny and she's a really interesting character, so I'm excited to see what else happens. It's definitely going to be more of a character-focused book. I do not see much plot happening in this book, but the main character's narrative voice is really interesting, and I think she's quite funny. So yeah. So I finished Hunchback. Started off really, really good. I was like, this is a 100% a 5-star contender. I will say it kind of lost me at the end. I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the conversations about desire and sex, and I thought the main character was really incredibly interesting, and all the conversations around the reality of what it is living with a congenital muscle disorder, and how the world is just not set up, nor does it support people with disabilities, specifically in Japan. Yeah, just halfway through, I can't really explain it, but I felt that the first half was so interesting and engaging, and then we got to the second half, and it's especially after the scene with her carer, with her male carer. I don't know what it was. There was like just a shift in the story that I just then kind of felt disengaged from it, and I'm not really sure what it was. And then the ending chapter was kind of very similar to the beginning chapter, but it felt completely different, which is probably what it was supposed to do. But yeah, I don't know, kind of shifted, and I wasn't as interested in the last 50 pages. So I ultimately gave it 3.5 stars. Moving on to Collide after lunch. I'm not feeling confident that I am going to finish this today. I don't know what it is. Yesterday I was flying through books. I was really into it, and I don't know whether maybe because I just kind of felt disconnected from Hunchback, where I'm like, do I want to read any more books? So I think I'm going to take a break, going to make some lunch, and then we'll start with a super fun, probably slightly cheesy, contemporary sports romance book. So after a little bit of a break, we are back. I was finding, because I felt a bit disconnected from Hunchback near to the end of the book, that I just wanted some time away from reading as a whole. So now I feel a bit refreshed. I've had something to eat. I feel a bit settled. We are going to jump straight in with Collide. My goal is to update you once we get to like page 50. I like to do it in like 50-page installments, unless something crazy pops up or I have something that I desperately want to say. So see you soon, probably. Okay, so we're already back. Sorry, that was really quick. I literally put it down for like 30 seconds. I turned the page. There's a playlist. I don't like to I don't like to read books with music with lyrics in, hence why I always have these like video game instrumental videos. But 100% I'll be listening to this playlist later. I mean, like, it's so interesting because you've got Taylor Swift, Lavender Haze, and then you've got like Sway Lee, Big Sean, Ty Dolla $ign, J. Cole, and then you've got a little bit of Arctic Monkeys, Ariana Grande. It's an interesting playlist. Some people get really weird about playlists. They're like, oh, I don't like it. I love little cushy fun things like this. So I'm 17 pages in. The narrative voice between both the two characters, Summer and Aiden, are very good. Like, instantly, I like the narrative voice. Super easy to read, engaging, good sense of personality. Big fan. I don't want to take the piss out of the fact that Summer, the main character, like, hates hockey. But because I don't know the circumstances, and it could be like a really serious circumstance. But she's like, I was really good friends with this guy. I don't know why I've given her that accent. And she's like, I was really good friends with this guy, and then I found out he was into hockey, and then we just couldn't be friends anymore. I'm like, I don't want to take the piss out of it, because maybe it's really serious, but why the fuck do you hate hockey so much that you'll just stop being friends with someone because you find out they're a hockey player? Seems a bit stupid. I'm probably going to regret this when I find out exactly why she doesn't like hockey, but if I get to the realization about why she doesn't like hockey, and it's a stupid reason, I'm judging. I've got a little bit of an understanding why she's not interested or likes hockey. And I feel like a bit of a bitch for saying it was dumb, it was stupid. I'm feeling a little dumb. I just read the line, not to the baby they had at 18 who almost derailed my father's hockey career, and I went, oh, there it is. There we fucking go. So, past me, she's a dick. So I'm now, how many pages am I into this? Hold on. I am now 69 pages into this book. That is ironic. Anyway, this is so good. I'm having such a great time. I definitely don't think I will finish this by the end of the day, but I'm having such a good time. Yeah, the narrative voice I've already mentioned is great. The chemistry between them is really good. I think the pacing of their dynamic and the just book in general is really, really well done. They're not like rushing into anything. We've got Aiden's point of view, he's interested in her. We don't get too much from her side of things, or whether she's interested in him. So I think the pacing is a little bit slower than some of the romances that I read, like Tessa Bailey. They're pretty much attracted to each other straight away. And they don't, and she goes straight away to let you know that the male characters are attracted to the woman. Here it's a little bit more slower burn, only slightly, which I'm really, really enjoying. I'm having such a great time with this. It's so good. We're getting more context into why Summer doesn't like hockey or like hockey players. And I'll be honest, valid. I would also, after what I'm reading, like page 71 or something, I would also avoid these men without a shadow of fucking doubt. She was right, and I doubted her, and I'm sorry. So I've officially hit over the 100-page mark. I have read 110 pages. The time is 5:27. I'm fucking loving this. I am loving this so much. They're at a bar. It's a scene where they're at a bar and they're having like a who can get somebody to go home with them competition. Perfect. Beautiful. I love it. Anyway, it's just great fun. It's really, really good. And what's really good is I'm enjoying it, and it's this early on. Look how many pages we've got left. I also have the sequel, Spiral, which follows a different member of the hockey team. Hockey is really a theme at the moment. I was looking up sports romances the other day, and they're all just hockey, but it follows another member of the hockey team, plus a ballerina. And anyway, yes, I'm really enjoying it, to the point where I kind of just don't want to make dinner and I just want to read this. And if I don't eat anything, that's fine. That's not true. I will be eating something. But anyway, yeah, just checking in to say, over 100 pages, loving it. The poor other people. They're playing they are playing pool, where the guy she's trying to hook up with is in a team with her, and then him and a girl that's kind of interested in him are a team. So they're playing against each other. Oh my god, the sexual chemistry, it's too much, it's too much. We've had the first falling out. I'm on page 126, and we've had the first bit of falling out. I wouldn't call it miscommunication. I would call it stupid actions. And she has every right to be pissed. I'd be pissed. Frankly, I'd be meaner. I'd be worse. There'd be a little bit of hatred sitting in my soul. So, yeah. And I don't forgive easily. So she's every right to kick him to the curb. But obviously she won't, and he'll make it, like, he'll be nice about it. But I'm like, ooh, he fucked up. She's healing a wound. I am so easily won over by things, and I know that in my soul. And this book is proof. This book is evidence. So I'm nearly halfway through this. I'm still absolutely loving it. But there's one thing I wanted to comment. I'm, how many pages? 168 pages in. And a lot has happened between these two. And it's a romance book, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But what I really like about it is they're still maintaining a friendship. They're not together. They're not like romantically like in a couple or anything like that, despite things that have happened between them. But they're also still really good friends. So it makes for a really nice reading experience because you have the romance elements of them, plus they're friends, plus still the pull of you want to see them together and you want to see them confess to each other that they love each other or finally give in to the fact that they like each other more than just this kind of sexual tension. But also not in a way where it feels rushed or you're like, oh my god, you're so boring, just get together. Like, it's just perfectly done. The pacing of their relationship is just like amazing. And I just found out, not only do I know their second book is out, Spiral, but the author just announced like 3 days ago that she's got a third book coming out called Revolve, following one of the characters in this book. So I'm super excited. I've definitely got an author that I will be committing my time and energy to. I do not think, because I still have to edit my weekly vlog and stuff, there's so many things I have to do, so I don't think I will finish this today, but I definitely will finish this on Monday. So that's 3.5 books basically for the weekend reading. I don't know whether I will do any more updates, so this might be the end, but we'll see. So I am ending the weekly vlog here on page 205 of Collide by Bal Cabra. Probably going to be up there with some of my favourite romance books. If she nails the ending, if she nails the second half, it's going to be a 5 stars. I'm ending it here because I forgot I still need to edit my weekly vlog to go out tomorrow. So I'm going to, what's the time? It is 8:44. I'm going to focus on editing that. I might read a little bit more, but I highly doubt I will probably do any updates. And I've got work tomorrow, so I'm going to do that. And then, yeah, have fun. This was really good, and I'm definitely going to do it again. I said in my weekly vlog that I want to do more kind of like spoiler vlogs. But yeah, this was really good. I read 3 books and half of another. That's a very good thing to fit in 48 hours, I must say. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe and all that. And yeah, those are some good books or recommendations. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you want more. See you soon.